Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a Christmas card that I made. In my last video I made this particular card using a stencil from Sweet Poppy, and I wanted to try and make this without using the stencil because if you don't have that stencil, I found it was actually fairly not the easiest to find. It's not on most of the normal sites that you buy stuff from. So if you don't have that stencil and you wanted to try something else, and this is what I came up with. This is it's a little more three-dimensional because I used die cuts and a ribbon instead of stenciling the ribbon. And then for the ornament, I used one of the fancy nesting dies from Crafter's Companion. I can't remember. I think it's called Moroccan Tile, perhaps. It was a set of fancy nesting dies that Crafter's Companion put out quite a while ago, a couple of years ago. Anyway, I just cut one out of white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and do my stenciling or my inking and my stamping on there, and then I'll show you how the rest of the card is made. It goes together pretty quick. So here's my the first one I stenciled. I cut and made a stencil to ink through, and then I cut it out. And this time I'm going to try doing it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a little bit of tape on the back to kind of hold it down to my glass mat so it doesn't shift around too much. And then I'm going to ink around the edges with Frosty Jade. And I'm going to use my finger dauber. And all I did was very lightly just kind of go around the edges, sort of pull in from the edge. And then because I wanted a little bit of a sky look, I used this Polar Blue from the Frosty and Bright collection, and find finger dauber. And I'm just going to really lightly put a little bit of blue in there, and that's where the sky is going to be. And then on this one, I tried to get a little more darker green on the edges to make it stand out a little bit more. And what I'm going to try instead is I'm going to take the green topaz, which is the slightly darker shade, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edge while it's sitting here, as opposed to just hitting the very edge. Now I've got my stamp. This is from the Christmas Rose, Crafter's Companion Christmas Rose Collections, Forest Glade. And I'm going to stamp in the Harmony Quick Dry ink. This is Seal Brown. And as you can see, I store my little ink blending tools that are specific to this color on the back. Now hopefully this will work first time, because I did not put it on a stamping platform. So just get it where you want it, and then hold it down and push. Don't let it raise up or it could smear. That ink get nice and there we go. That looks great. Now, just as I did, if you watched my other video, I colored the trees and the deer in with my Spectrum Noir Classique pens, Coffee Bean, which is a dark brown, and Earth Brown 5, and Forest Green, which is dark green 4, DG4, and EB5. I'm just going to color those in. Okay, there we go. Get that off there. And then to build my card, it's a 5x7 card base, and I've got a green matte layer, and I cut a hole out because I used that to cut the holly and berries. I used some red and green from, oh, there it is. From the Holly and Ivy collection, Holly and Ivy Sentiments. I used these holly and then the berries. And I'm going to put that on there. For my next layer up, I used an embossing folder. And this is an old Crafter's Companion holly frame embossing folder. And it's got a little circle frame in the middle, but I'm going to cover it up anyway, so I don't care. And it worked exactly what I wanted. But I'm going to ink it because that white is just too stark. Because if you put that on there, it's just too stark for me. So I'm going to ink it in the Frosty Jade. And we're just going to layer that right on top of that green. And now I'm going to put my ornament right on there. I'm going to put a little bit towards the bottom, right like that. I'm going to use some foam tape to raise it up. So we're just going to put that right in the middle, a little bit towards the bottom, and try and get it straight. Looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put our holly on, something like that. And I'm going to put those on with 3D glue gel. I'm going to put a pretty good glob on there because I want it raised up. And now all I need is a ribbon. And you can see on this one, I did use the darker green on the back. I think I like the lighter green. It helps this stand out just a little bit more, especially with that darker edge. And it makes the background just a little more subtle, which I like. And I'm going to use this sheer ribbon instead of the solid ribbon. And because I want it to drape down, I'm going to cut a pretty good length, and I can always trim it off later. So I got a pretty good length. It's about 20 inches long. And just kind of judge the middle. And we're going to do our bow right in the center. Once you get your bow essentially formed, then just kind of work it until it's the size that you want. And a little bit smaller. Once you get the size that you want, yep, I'm going to glue that on there, and then I'll show you how I do the ends. So if you get some glue all the way across, it kind of helps to make sure that it doesn't come untied as well. And we're just going to glue that up kind of right on top. And then I want this to sort of curve around. So you can kind of twist it. And then I'm going to glue it down here. But I got to cut the ends. And I want the ends to be, you know, like these where they're forked, like a snake tongue. I don't know what they call them. But And so you just fold the ribbon in half where you want to cut it, and then take your scissors and cut at the angle while it's folded in half. And that'll give you your little forked bottom. And since I want it curved, I'm going to kind of twist it and then glue it in a couple of places. So I'm going to glue it up here, and I'm going to glue it down here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. And then we're just going to let that glue dry. And it'll give you that sort of curly ribbon look. Anyway, there you go, and we're all done. It goes together pretty quick, and it gives you the sense of an ornament. Now you could put a ribbon up here to make it, you know, look like a hanging, like it's hanging if you wanted, but I don't think it's necessary. So this one I used the lighter Frosty Jade on the background. This one I used the green Topaz on the background, and slightly different colors on the greens. But love the way it came out. It's, again, it's my take on this card that used the Sweet Poppy stencil. But if you don't have that stencil, or if you don't have a stencil similar, you can do it with just a nesting shape and die cuts. So thanks for watching.